Hi everyone, in today's video I'll be surviving 100 days in survival Minecraft. This is a big project. This is the biggest YouTube project I've ever done, so please judge it kindly, and this is also the reason I've been gone for so long. But yeah, just sit back and enjoy the watch. Day 1. These first couple of days are a bit uneventful, but anyways. I explored to find home. Didn't find that quite yet, but I found an igloo. So that's nice. It didn't have a basement though. Sad. Also, I found the most valuable resource of all. Pumpkins! Pumpkins! And the sun went down, so I went to sleep. Day 2, I found even more pumpkins, and I also searched and found where I'm gonna stay for the rest of these 100 days. I set up a camp in this little cave, and then I went to bed. Day 3, I made a little mine to the left of my cave and went down. I mined some coal, which reminded me of a funny meme I saw once. I chuckled to myself and kept mining. After stumbling into a water cave, I found a mine shaft, which led basically nowhere, and I forgot about its existence for the rest of these 100 days. When I came up the stairs though, I could see the night sky. It was very beautiful, and then I saw that I had dug the stairs incorrectly. That was a bit embarrassing. Day 4. On the morning of day 4, I realized that I trapped myself in the cave I was living in while trying to escape last night's monsters. But after dealing with that, I got my first iron pick and a water bucket. I watered my farm, got some armor and a shield, and went back to the mines again. I got annoyed at bonking my head and contemplating switching on shaders. I know, it's a weird strain of thought, but just bear with me. I found a cave and my first diamonds. Woo! I switched on the shaders to see the diamonds and decided that it's staying, but after some more days I switched it off again. I'll tell you when it happens. I kept mining and found 4 more diamonds at level -58, I think. I strip mined and the glowing lapis looked so pretty. I was like a moth to a light. I found some more diamonds and ran out of torches, so up again I go. I came up to rain and rushed under the overhang in my little cave. Hearing the rain and being dry and warm made me feel really cozy. I just love the feeling of being inside on a rainy day and playing Minecraft, and this moment made me feel that way. It was very nice is what I'm trying to say. Day 5, it still rained, but I decided to chop down the big spruce tree I had planted, and when I came back into the warm cave it stopped raining, and the sun shined again. Bit ironic, I would say, if that's the right word for it. I wanted honeycomb, so I made some shears, but I quickly learned that my buzzy neighbors weren't busy, so I gave them some flowers so they'd be happy and would make me honey. I crafted my first diamond pickaxe and went down to mine some obsidian for both an enchantment table and a nether portal. When I came up, it was night and I went to sleep. Day 6. I brought a creeper and a skeleton that were being cheeky by hiding under my big spruce tree. I then did some maintenance around the home base. I also crafted an enchantment table so that I'm ready for enchanting my diamond pickaxe with fortune, hopefully. But I'd gladly take Silk Touch too. I mean, it's good either way. I also got my first bunch of honeycomb and brought some more cows over to the pen, which I built a few days back. I don't know why, but day 7 is totally gone. I didn't write anything down for this day, so I'll just jump to day 8. I started gathering materials for my farmhouse. I gathered some spruce and then I ventured out in search of a dark oak forest and some villagers. Dark oak was the main priority though. Day 9. I took to sail. Or well, boat. I rode for the entirety of day 8 and day 9 until I finally found it. A dark oak forest. With this I could make the trim of my house. I only really needed it for that. But it does become more useful later on, so I still needed it now. I chopped the wood, got some saplings and headed home to my cave. But that's gonna change very soon. When it turned night and I was on my way home, I saw some weird lights in the water. As I approached nearer, I realized I had just rode onto a giant ocean monument and quickly scattered. That was really scary. After quickly rowing away, I saw a faint glow of a village in the distance. This was perfect because I needed some librarians to max out my armor and get various items, and also make an iron farm later on. After raiding the village, I made a friend. Hi friend! And we sailed home. On the trip we saw some icebergs and a snow village. It felt like a much tinier version of Titanic. Thankfully, we didn't capsize though. Day 10. Me and my friend came home to a monster party infesting my front lawn. So I left my friend in the boat, killed some nearby zombies so that he wouldn't die, and got to bed to prevent more of them from spawning. Day 11. I locked my friend in the cave and put my axolotl friend in the pool too. Oh right, I didn't tell you about that. On my way out to find the dark oak forest, I found an azalea tree and dug down to find a lush cave and a little axolotl friend. I took him with me. It was fun. After dropping them off, I started prepping for the house. Day 12, I awoke and had one thing on my mind. More materials. For the farmhouse, of course. I gathered all the wood parts, and when it turned night I tried to find some sheep that I could bring back home for an automatic wool farm. I found the sheep and led them to the river, but I thought it'd be best to bring them over by boat the next morning, so I slept and awoke on day 13, where I got the boat, got the sheep, painted them orange, sheared them, and waited for the wool to grow back. I needed at least 127 orange wool, so this was gonna take a while. Day 14, I awoke and wanted to go to the Nether. There I could get some blackstone and some basalt if I was lucky, and also make preparations for the fight with the Ender Dragon, but that's for later on in the video. I built the Nether portal, and to be honest, it looks really bad and ugly, but we're gonna change it in the future, trust me. I went in, but forgot my golden boots, so I went back for them. Quickest trip to the Nether and back. Unfortunately, we spawned in a nether ravine, so I had to dig myself out. I found another cave with some crimson nylium up at the top, so I knew that there was gonna be air up there and I could probably get out of this ravine. I climbed up and dug myself into a soul sand valley, where I gathered some basalt and some bow blocks for farming. I headed onwards and got the return to sender achievement while fighting a ghast. I got visually happy. Just look at my little dance. I then found a big lava lake and a fortress at the opposite end of where I was. All I had to do was cross the lake without falling and dying horribly. So off I went. I mined some netherrack and bridged across the lake. It was really scary because a ghast could have shot me down at any moment. Luckily for me, the skies were clear, so no death in the nether so far. I remembered that I also needed some magma blocks, so I mined some too. In the fortress, I fought up some wither skeletons, and eventually after some searching around it, I found a blaze spawner, which I sat at for some time gathering up the required blaze rods for the stronghold. After that, I returned to my portal and came back to my lovely farm that didn't have that much to show yet. When I came back, the day counter was still on day 14, so I guess I was just really fast. Day 15, I fought off a creeper and a skeleton again, but this time I got a music disc. I can't wait to hear it. Okay, future Stahf, I totally forgot that I had this, so sadly I never got to listen to it. Guess I have to wait a bit more. Okay, I'll stop. The joke is really on me, cause I needed honeycomb blocks to complete my roof, so I needed to get one more villager to get a villager breeder up and running so I could get silk touched by a librarian. Or just, you know, enchant my axe at the enchantment table. But that doesn't matter. I ventured off to find the village again, not knowing that I had sailed the wrong direction. But it turned out fine, cause I found another village I could make a friend from, and it was actually closer to my farm, so huge bonus. Day 16, I got the other friend in the little cozy cave and wanted to begin breeding them, but for that I need a breeder. So here we go building one. After all that building, it was finally done. It didn't look very pretty, but that's also why I tucked it away underground and behind a stone wall. Day 17 was a uneventful day. I started off breeding the animals and chopping some wood. I got some mud and did some more farm work. Day 18 is the day I tried to find a mesa biome because Mojang only made a few good orange blocks and all the good ones are kinda rare for a starter player without elytra. So I'm kinda dumb for choosing an orange roof gradient, but I guess that's on me. I will also fix the villager breeder because I realized that I forgot the beds. And I also switched my white bed out for an orange bed because, orange. Can you tell what my favorite color is by this point? I used chunk base to find the Badlands because I just want to make something beautiful without stressing about wasting my time or searching for a Badlands biome, which is pretty rare. Else the video was probably gonna take twice as long and have half the progress. So after clearing that up, I set off east in search of that pretty looking red sand. On the night of day 18 I found a safe village where I could rest. I had traveled a great distance by now, but there was still almost 1000 blocks to go and then the journey back, of course. Day 19 I awake to a creeper that wants to hurt me. I don't let him. He did blow up though, and took part of the mason's house with it. So I ventured on and found the place. It was overflowing with the treasure I had been seeking, red sand. I gathered 3 stacks in case a stack wasn't enough and some orange terracotta for no apparent reason other than that it's another orange block. Before I went home, I checked the red sandstone recipe, and good thing I did that because I found out that 4 red sand turns into 1 red sandstone, and I needed like 100 of this stuff. So I went back straight away and got more. I can't imagine the dread I would have felt if I had returned with only half the required sandstone for this roof. Whew, dodged a bullet there. Day 20 was more traveling back, and on day 21 to 22 I was finally home. It's so good to be back. Also, it's on day 21 that I decided to switch off my shaders again because it was making my computer chuck from rendering all these chunks. Today I took a trip to the Nether because one of the blocks I was missing for my house was blackstone. So off I went. I went through the Nether and searched far and wide for a basalt delta, but decided to just tunnel my way to one, without realizing that my pickaxe had very low durability. It went well though. We found a basalt delta and got 48 blackstone, which was exactly enough to build a house. So now we only need honeycomb blocks and orange wool. So we should be good. Wait, I don't have a honeycomb farm yet. Well, at least the villager breeder should be working. It wasn't. Well, I've also been away for a while, so they probably just missed me. Nope. Even when they were about to have a baby, something went wrong, so I spent the rest of the day making the bed area bigger and observing their behavior. And on day 23 I went back to see if it was working now, but it seemed to still not work. So I googled a bit about villager behavior, made the bed area even bigger and rearranged the beds, and before I knew it, a little baby villager had walked right into the holding chamber. Huge success. Day 24 I got out of bed and thought, you know what? It's building time. Day 24 and we're done with the outside. Almost. We're still missing the honeycomb blocks, but I also hit level 30, so maybe we can aim for silk touch? Well, it doesn't look like we'll be getting it anytime soon. Wait, I don't have a way to get up to the first floor. Day 26 I woke up in my new big farmhouse. Even though it kinda looked like a small mansion with some of the roof missing, it's still a farmhouse. I enchanted my diamond shovel with a level 1 enchant, and the next roll was efficiency 4. I might just take that for my pickaxe. I went for the Nether to get some XP from mining quartz. It's very primitive, but it'll do for now. I came back and enchanted it, and oh, it only had efficiency 4. What's the next one? Fortune 3? I'm taking that. Get that efficiency 4 out of here. I went to get XP, and when I returned it was night and it was time to enchant my pickaxe. Unbreaking 3, Fortune 3. It could have gotten efficiency 4, but I'll gladly take that. And with that, I went to bed satisfied. Day 27 to 28, I went mining with my new Fortune 3 pick, specifically for coal. But on my way out, a creeper had snuck up behind me, and when I went out the door, tragedy struck. I fixed it pretty easily, so it's all good. I got about 3 stacks of coal and went into the Nether because I needed even more levels and ender pearls. So it was time to go to a warp forest to kill some Endermen. And on my way home, this happened. So yeah, that was very close. Day 29, I shut off the villager breeder because there was a ton of villagers in the holding chamber. I then enchanted my shovel and axe and ended up getting silk touch for my axe. Perfect! I went out to get some bees, and when I came back I trapped a zombie on the top of the mountain. You'll see why tomorrow. Day 30, I woke up, prepared for and began construction of an iron farm on top of the hill. It's because I want to make a water tower all the way up there, and it would cover the farm up pretty nicely. Day 31, I was still building it, and by night I brought the zombie up there. Day 32, I got the villagers up and finished the rest of the build. It should be working once it turns night, and I can't wait for that, because it means free iron for hoppers and shears for a honeycomb farm, which means I can finish my roof. Finally. I also set up some villagers for trading. Day 33, I got the trade for protection 4 and mending on my 2 librarians and knocked them in. Nothing much happened else than that. Day 34, I worked on fixing the iron farm because 2 nights had passed and no iron had been produced yet. Long story short, I fixed it, it broke, I needed to get new villagers, and this lasted until day 35, and in that time I got killed by an iron golem 2 times. The same iron golem, but now it's finally working. I made some chests and made an actual storage system to just help my living situation, because right now my chests are a mess and I can't find anything in it. But before I could do any of that, a ton of zombies broke down my door and tried to get to my trading villagers, but I fought them off. And if I had died here, the villagers would have been dead too. And that means I could kiss my protection 4 and mending goodbye. Oh, also I made another villager a toolsmith, so I could trade my iron for emeralds. Day 36. I started the work on decorating the house, and I think I did pretty good. Okay, I only organized my storage, but that's a pretty great step towards really having a home. Today I also made a few preparations for the bee farm by getting hoppers and placing bees down to breed the amount I would need for my farm. I went to bed satisfied with what I had accomplished today. It was small, but it was necessary. Day 37. I did some interior decor and flattened some of the land outside my house. I also bred bees. Day 38. I did some farm work. I gathered some copper because I wanted to make some rusted farm equipment. Day 39. I picked out a spot for the bee farm and tried building it freehand. I knew what I wanted to build, but it was hard getting it just right, so I hopped in a creative world and designed it so I could be proud of what I had built. Day 40 to 42, it was time to build my bee farm. On day 42 is looking pretty defined. I just needed some last touches here and there, and also to complete the machinery, like the actual bee farm. But aesthetics come first. Day 43 I finished up the last of the building, and I would say it was looking pretty good. After admiring my work, I gathered the bees and put them in the farm. Now the only thing that was missing was shears. Day 44, I got the shears in and the farm started working. I love seeing the bees in there without me having to go in the building to watch them. It's so cool. I hope you like my build too. I'm gonna add a ton more flower decorations and stuff like that in the future. I even added this giant tank thing that looks like it's storing the honey, and a light monitor that's counting how much honey is in the tank. I think it's so cool. I also added a spare tank on the backside in case it overflows. Now let's check the honeycomb farm. It has already made 11 honeycomb blocks, and I'm gonna slap them straight on the roof, and wow, it looks so much better already. Just ignore the other holes in the roof. I just can't wait to see how it looks when it's done. I also added a little terrace on the side of the building for future outside dining opportunities. Future Stahf note here, I forget to add the table and chairs and stuff. For all of day 45's night, I decorated the interior of the house, and until the morning of day 46, where I decorated even more and added flower pots, leaves and lanterns, all the good stuff. I want to make the basement area, the workshop area, the first floor a living space, and then finally the loft will be my bedroom / indoors garden for flowers and such. Day 46 I also went mining for diamonds and redstone and such. I found 26 diamonds, which is a very good amount. So I crafted a full suit of diamond armor, and wow, look at me. Day 47 I went to the Nether to get some levels to enchant my diamond pickaxe to hopefully get efficiency 4, and I freaking got it. Day 48 is time to defeat the Ender Dragon and get the elytra so I can get resources much faster. And so after some preparations I set sail for the stronghold. After some time I found the stronghold and began searching for the portal room. When I found the portal room I found that I needed all the ender eyes, and I just broke one of my 12 eyes looking for the stronghold. So never mind, I died and lost a lot in the lava that was next to me. Day 49, I went back to gather up my remaining loot. I was missing a diamond shovel and helmet and half a stack of my food, but I could easily get it back. Anyway, after returning home again, I started prepping some more because I realized that I hadn't brought a bow last time. So if I had all the ender eyes, I would have went in without a method for shooting the end crystals, and that would have not ended well. Therefore, I made a villager a Fletcher and tried to get the arrow trade, but I realized that there was no way for me to get the arrow trade, so now now, because I'm supposed to be in the first level of trades and I already locked in his trades. So sadly we had to say goodbye to him. Day 50. I tried again with another villager. This time I got a whole bunch of arrows. I then enchanted some of my gear with level 1 enchants because I couldn't afford anything else because I just died and lost all my levels. But now it was time to get some more blaze rods and ender pearls. And after some time in the nether I came back, fixed a bit more of my roof and went to bed. Day 51 to 52, I'm finally ready. I have my armor in check, I have my tools in check, so when everything was finally in check, I set out to fight her, the Ender Dragon. Finally, after narrowing her health down to a mere speck, she perched and I went in with my axe, and it was over. The end was free. I of course grabbed the egg and went to the outer end area. Here I went south following the giant void so I could find my way back easily, and after a while I found an end city. It even had a ship. This was perfect. I of course went for the ship first, and quickly after entering I got my first pair of elytra. Now I could finally travel large distances with ease. Now just for the rest of the city. I want to get as many shulker shells as I can right now, because I plan on building a lot more in the next couple of days, and shulker boxes will be very useful for that. Unfortunately I died trying to kill a shulker I was standing on, and I fell to my death. So that was embarrassing. Day 53. I returned to the end to get my stuff. I got it and quickly raided the rest of it until I felt I had enough shulker shells. My armor enchants aren't so good, so I take quite a beating from those bullets they fire. So I feel comfortable with leaving now and coming back for when I need more in the future. But now it's time to fly. Day 54, I watched the sunrise and I couldn't wait to use my new wings to explore my world anew. But first I had to get an overhead view of my farmland. Oh yeah, it looks so cool, but it needs some decorating. But first we need to prepare an Enderman farm, cause I wanna get some good tools so I can go ham on the decor. I found out when I rented the end city I got a perfect diamond shovel, so I added some mending to it and now it was truly perfect. Now for this farm. I need a lot of blocks. 1414 blocks to be exact, and for that I'm just gonna choose some regular stone blocks. I mined a ton from my cave system, but then I realized that it was boring and that I'd rather make a stone farm because I've never tried to do that and it might be fun and useful. So I headed up again and began tinkering. I decided on a good spot for it and began working on it. I wanted to do it freehand because I thought I was smart enough, and luckily I was. When I was done I took to the nether to gather some lava, and I took it and floated gracefully to the ground. Now it was just to see if the farm would work. It appeared to be working, but I was getting cobblestone instead of stone, so I went to bed hoping I could fix it in the morning. Day 55. After some more tinkering, I got it to work. Now I just needed to get a buttload of stone. I mined stone for all of day 55. Day 56. I gathered some more materials for the farm and also fixed up my roof. I think it's finally done on the outside. Now, back to gathering resources. The problem I faced was that I needed a name tag for the endermite I was gonna use to lure the enderman to me. So I decided to level up my librarian instead of going fishing for it. Day 57, I was almost there. I had everything except the name tag, so I traded a bit more with the librarian and then I got the trade. But I was out of emeralds, so after some waiting on the toolsmith to buy my iron, I could finally buy it, and then I was off to the end to build the farm. And I quickly built the farm. I was really happy with it and I couldn't wait to test it, so I jumped off, but forgot to equip my elytra. I fell in the void and I lost all my stuff. Day 58, I respawned in my bed. I had tried to equip my elytra as a last attempt to save me, but I had been too slow. I was really bummed out, but I just kept going. I could easily get my tools back to the state they were in with my new XP farm. The thing that wouldn't be so easy to get was the elytra, but I knew if I could gather a good enough suit of armor, a good bow and sword, I could easily get it back. I couldn't just give up. Day 59 I spent on getting an enchantment table and leather for bookshelves, but then I remembered that there were libraries in the stronghold, so I just headed for the library and gathered them there. I went to the XP farm and set it all up, but I realized that I didn't have any lapis, so I couldn't even use it for anything. So I had to head back and gather lapis for enchanting. Day 60, I went mining for lapis. I got half a stack and decided it would be good enough to enchant some gear for end busting. I went to the end and enchanted as good as I could and ended up with some decent loot and infinity on my bow so I wouldn't run out of arrows. I decided to go looking for an end city. After all, I just wanted my elytra back so I wouldn't need to fight my way through all of this city. I flew north. Wait, I didn't fly north. I went north and found 3 end cities with ships next to each other. I'd never seen this, but it meant I would have elytras in bulk if I ever was to lose one again. Day 61, I came home with 3 elytras and some loot. I don't think I'll need to go end busting for elytras from now on. I've learned my lesson and I'm glad to get back to being able to fly. And I'm just gonna continue from where I died. I need some more lapis for enchanting cause, as I said earlier, I want to max out my gear with the best enchantments, so I need that lapis. Day 62 I go lapis mining. I googled the best layer for lapis strip mining and it said to mine at Y level 0, so that's where I'll go. I took my Fortune 3 pickaxe with me and spent some time mining. After some digging I found my first lapis which granted a stack and a little over half a stack more. This was going splendidly, but soon I got stopped by a giant water cave. I decided to explore and realized I had Depth Strider 3 on my iron boots. After some exploring I got flung into a big cave after trying some mines of gold. It obviously wasn't lit up, so I was attacked by some skeletons and a zombie. I killed them and realized it would probably be better to look for lapis here. Because I wouldn't have to fear drowning, I would just have to kill some mobs. Along with a lot of lapis, I've also found a geode. I noted down that it was here and kept looking for lapis. I got a whole lot, and when I returned I saw it was night. I also really gotta make these stairs actual stairs, but that's for another time. Now to see how much I had gathered. I got a decent amount, definitely enough to enchant my armor, and also some diamonds to create said armor and probably also a sword, because this iron sword isn't fitting the aesthetic. I went to sleep proud of what I had done to this day. Day 63, it was time. To make armor enchanted, well I only needed new boots because the ones I had right now had the curse of vanishing, which means if I die I lose these pretty boots. So I crafted a new pair and went to the end to begin enchanting. Cue the montage! Day 64 I was finally done enchanting and this is what I got. Day 65 I harvested some sugarcane and realized we were very low on gunpowder, so I got an idea. Let's build a gunpowder farm. I spent the last of day 65 gathering cobblestone, and when day 66 turned around I still mined cobblestone. A little into day 66 I got done gathering stone and it was on to all the other ingredients, like 852 trapdoors. Oh, this is gonna take a long time. After chopping a lot of trees, I was finally done. I had gathered all 852 trapdoors and now the rest of the items would be fairly easy to get. But first we sleep. Day 67. I needed 100 slabs but ended up crafting way too many. Oh, yeah, that sucks. After all that crafting and getting all the other ingredients, I'm ready to fly, but it's already turned night, so to kill some time, I'm building a sugarcane farm while waiting. Nothing fancy, just the old school observer and piston setup. Day 68 and I was still working on the sugarcane farm because now I was invested and really wanted to finish it. I gathered some more materials for it, such as glass and dark oak stairs for the window trim, and when I was done with it, it had turned night again. So I just went to bed to travel out to the building site in daylight. Day nice. We went out to the ocean to where it is steep and began construction. Day 70, construction halted because I had forgot to collect some snow blocks, so I had to go collect some. After I got some, I continued construction on the gunpowder farm. It started raining, so that sucked. Night and I was preparing the AFK spot, a thunderstorm started. When at the top I made the AFK spot and going down I broke the sand and placed a torch, and I just want to show how satisfying this was. After that I went down to collect the already 19 pieces of gunpowder and 3 leather. With this gunpowder I can finally make all the rockets and TNT my heart desires. On day 71 I went home and crafted a bunch of rockets, but then I realized that my elytra was almost broken just from the 4 trips back and forth. So to hopefully fix that problem I enchanted my elytra with Unbreaking 3 from 2 Unbreaking 2 books that I got from my librarian villager. I then wanted to work on the outside of the farm, because in all of these 71 days of Minecraft it hadn't even looked like a farm. I built a little path leading from the house to the bee farmhouse, and I made a stone and hedge barrier behind the path to act as a barrier for some future custom trees. And then at night, while trying to plan out where the trees were gonna go, a horde of zombies ambushed me. I have never seen this many zombies in one place. After defeating them, I cleared my inventory a bit and went out to see the change. It's not huge, but at some point it's gonna be really nice, I hope. I plan to put more buildings in and also add some fields, of course. I smoothed out some more of the ground, and then I decided that the next thing that needed a touch-up was the water tower / iron farm. I really wanted it to make sense for this farm to utilize the hill, so by placing the water tower on top of it, I could use gravity to transport the water to the fields. Day 72 to 73, I started to gather the materials for the water tower. Day 74, I still needed more blocks, but this time it was the red sandstone. So I had to travel all the way out to the Badlands again to get some. Okay, now we're here and we're probably gonna be here for the rest of the day and also tomorrow. So, day 75 I was done with the red sandstone collecting, but now I needed about 720 regular sandstone. After gathering the sandstone from a nearby hill, I packed up and headed over to collect some orange terracotta. The orange terracotta didn't take long and I went home after that. But on my way home I found this stranded ship. I don't think I've ever seen one that's so far in on land. It didn't have anything special, but while searching for the buried treasure, I found these little guys. I really like the Minecraft frogs and the frog lights. I was a bit skeptical at first, but I mean, look at these guys. On the night of day 75, I returned and began to stash the stuff I had gathered. Day 76, it's time to finally build this water tower. Day 77 I went straight back to building the water tower, and after a while I finished it, turned it on again and built a hopper train all the way down to the ground so I could reach the chest more easily. I realized that I was low on coal and I was gonna need it for all the smooth red and regular sandstone I need for the next couple of buildings. So I went coal mining until day 78 to 79, where I had 4 stacks and a little more. After coming home I built a little auto smelter and got to work gathering more blocks for the next building, which you'll probably guess by seeing the materials for it, and you'll also see it during the time lapse of me building it. I crafted a ton of things I needed, but I was running out of redstone, so I went to the mines. Day 80 was more crafting. I also needed to go to the Nether for more warp wood, but when I came through to there, I got ambushed by a creeper that blew up my portal. This was pretty annoying, because I didn't think to bring a flint and steel with me, so I either had to find a ruined portal and maybe get a flint and steel, or I could get gunpowder from a ghast, coal from a wither skeleton, and blaze powder from a blaze and craft a fire charge. I went to the fortress, and on my way I killed a ghast and obtained the gunpowder. I then went in the fortress and quickly got the blaze rods for the blaze powder. But now comes the coal. I used a bunch of time to look for wither skeletons and finally found one on my way out to harvest warp wood and got the coal. So now we could get back home again. I gathered the wood and came back to strip it. Day 81 I needed some green dye because I'm playing with a data pack that both prevents Enderman breathing and vanilla tweaks crafting data pack that makes it so I can dye already dyed items another color. So that means I can dye my orange terracotta that I have a lot of into other colors like green or, well, lime for this building. But now for something else. I need to enchant a diamond hoe with silk touch so I can gather leaves for some custom trees around the area. I crafted it, enchanted it, and came back on the night of 81. I wanted to get some cactus, so I waited with sleeping before I had it. And before the sun rose on day 82, I had gotten one more cactus, so now I could smelt it all down into green dye and continue on building the farm. Because while I waited for the cactus to grow, I had finally gotten the last smooth sandstone I needed. So now it was time to terraform a bit. Didn't see that coming. Day 82, I terraformed a bit so the building would fit in the place I had chosen, and now that I've done that, it's time to craft the last ingredient, and then we're ready to build. Day 83 and it's all done. As you might have guessed, this is a pumpkin research facility where we research new ways to improve our pumpkin farming. Just kidding, it's just a pumpkin farm. But it gives the building some story and purpose, and I really like that. We have a little replica of the water tower to function as storage for the water for the pumpkins, and then a big antenna to broadcast the pumpkin research progress. But yeah, the design draws a lot of inspiration from Slime Rancher, like the domed house you have in the first game. I wanted it to look newer, whilst the farmhouse has the wooden beams that keep it very structurally strong and sturdy and more old looking. But now it's time to make it official and build a path to the building. This also means I have to tear down the nether portal and move it, but I'll gladly do that. Now it's just time to make a little pumpkin patch next to this build. I was trying to plan out the pumpkin patch and got attacked by this creeper who hurt me a bit more than I'd like, so I went to bed. Day 84, I woke up to a noise complaint from my neighbor who was banging on my door, but I just killed him, so problem solved. Otherwise, today was spent on making the pumpkin patch. I needed some more pumpkins and for the pumpkin patch to grow, so meanwhile I did that, I worked on getting the materials for the next and probably also the final big building, because we're running out of time at this point. But for that I need the nether portal up again, so I just placed it in the cave. I collected some bone blocks, bone mealed the rest of the stems in the pumpkin farm, and then through the night I crafted a bunch of the blocks for the final build. And after a bunch of crafting it was morning, but there was 3 things I still needed. I needed 31 orange wool, which was easy, it just takes some time. A bunch of white wool, which takes longer, but I already dyed my sheep white, and once I have all I need, I'm gonna dye them orange again. But one thing that haunted me was more smooth red sandstone. I thought I gathered enough. I did the maths. I collected specifically enough for all of the builds, but no, I didn't. I had forgot to put the materials for this build in my calculations, so I just have to face the truth and venture out to the Badlands for the third time in this video. Day 85, I finished the pumpkin patch by building a big pumpkin and giving him a face. I love him. But now it was time to gather more red sandstone. I flew out to the desert, but on my way there I gathered some acacia leaves, and when it turned night I collected the sand. And after just a little bit of shoveling, I was done, and could return to gather more leaves. Yeah, I needed a lot of leaves. But after that I went home, before realizing I needed more cactus, so I went back to the desert to gather some and saw a desert temple in the distance. Yeah, I get distracted easily. Day 86, I emerged from the temple and now it was finally time to go home. And on my way home, I flew through this giant hole in the mountain. I just thought that was cool. After I came home, I put everything in my chests. The only thing I needed now was all of the wool. So while waiting for that, I went to gather materials for the custom trees. I chopped down trees for all of the night of day 86 and the morning of day 87, but I was close to having all the materials for the custom trees now. And I was also getting very close to having all the wool too, but not just yet. So off we go to gather more materials for the trees. I gathered birch leaves for the rest of day 87, and yes, I know I'm not chopping down the trees, but I do it later on because I didn't realize it would look bad on film if I just left the trees like sticks in the ground, so sorry, we'll move on. On the night of 87, yes, I returned home because Phantom spawned, so I clearly hadn't slept in a while. Day 88, and I felt like time was running out, but I just kept trucking on and gathered the last of the birch leaves and spruce wood I needed. I chopped wood and gathered leaves for all of day 88 and found it drowned in the nearby river with a trident. I killed him, but he didn't give me the trident, sadly. But at least I had enough resources to build all the custom trees now. I just still need that last amount of wool. But that night I finally got it all and my sheep were of course back to orange again. Day 89, it's finally time to build this thing. So yeah, this is the vertical windmill of the farm. I thought the farm needed some kind of power generation, but I wanted to make it unique. I know that these types of windmills are usually used in fantasy builds, but I saw something like them in the game Surviving Mars, and I thought they looked pretty futuristic, which is kind of what I'm going for. But now the farm just needs some power poles to carry the electricity around to the different buildings. And we of course also need to build the trees to just beautify the area a bit more because it's looking very barren. And we're jumping right into another montage because I want to get a tree build up to just see how it looks. But then a thunderstorm started, so I went in for a little nap. So that means that we're on day 90 now. Only 10 days left and we still need to build a whole lot of stuff. But now we're building some lovely trees. Now, that was one of them, and I'm already in love. I built them in the pine sort of tree, because that's my favorite kind of tree, and it reminded me of the redwood forest in Satisfactory, which has that futuristic industrial feel, and the pine trees just make it for a beautiful scenery. So let's build some more. By night, I was done with the second one and I felt a little stressed, but not enough to knock me out. After all, I had completed 2 trees in 1 day, so it would mean I could be done with all 10 in about 5 days. Day 90, more trees. You know what? I'm just gonna do like a fast montage of them, so boom, 1 there, and boom, 1 there, and boom, 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 there's 3 of them, and the rest you just get here. So it's now day 93, or well, night of day 93, and I was done with all the trees. I think they look so good. I couldn't help but admire it, but I just had to clean my inventory first. I had too many leftover leaves, so I had to make another chest in my storage area for just plant stuff. I didn't know what else to call it. Day 94, I went mining for smooth basalt at the geode in the cave where I mined for lapis. And when I came up, I began building the power poles to distribute the power from the windmill. But it started to thunder, so I got scared and ran into the house to get my lightning rods and place them so the lightning wouldn't strike my very flammable buildings and now also trees. Day 95, it finally stopped raining and it was nice and sunny, which I appreciated very much. I'm gonna turn off fire tick in the future because I don't like the thought of my house burning down. But besides that, it's finally time to add the wires between these power poles, because they need to be transferred between them somehow, and I don't want to have it be Bluetooth connected, although it would be very cool to have a bunch of Tesla coils around to transfer the power. I'd rather have my farm animals not get sapped, so we'll use chains to transfer this power. This was rather boring, so I'll just jump to the finished product with shaders, of course. It looks pretty cool, but I think that's because of the farm itself. I don't know how I feel about the power lines, but it adds some realism to it, so I might just keep it until I decide in the last minute that it looks weird and tear it down. Day 96, I spent on making a little wheat field out in front of my house. It turned out pretty great, I would say. I then made this little pond in front of the bee farm, because we needed a place for a little axolotl friend that sadly had been staying in this barrel in my basement for the longest time. So I was glad to give him something special. Day 97, I still worked on the outside of the bee farm. It needed a little flowers. Now, just to get my axolotl friend. Now he can finally rest here with some bees as company. Now it's just about moving the sheep pen a little and also moving the cow pen a bit. This continued on to day 98. When I was done with that, I decorated the surrounding area. We were quickly running out of time, but it was all about the fine touch-ups now. When it turned night, I fixed the torch problem with a bunch of lampposts around the area. But the places I don't really go, I just kept the torches. Day 99, we're so close now. I did some more decorating and flew up to see the progress. I had made some flower plots in front of the bee house, but they had no flowers, so I went out to get some. When I got them, I went back and decorated more, until I felt fulfilled. I had done all I wanted for these 100 days, and I was really proud of my progress. I had one last crazy idea, so I went to my gunpowder farm. I know that's a bit bizarre, but just trust me, it's gonna be great. Okay, now just to wait a bit, I got the gunpowder and crafted something up, and then I went to sleep. Day 100, and it's World Tour Day. We start off in the farmhouse with my bedroom / indoor garden area. It turned out fine, I guess. I could have made it prettier, but alas, this is how it turned out. We have some different achievements that aren't updated yet. Let me just boom. Okay, so we built the Enderman XP farm, we died, got a new elytra, built the gunpowder farm, and then over here, we built the water tower, the pumpkin farm, the windmill, and the massive 10 trees around the farm. I'd say that's some pretty big achievements, so yeah. Then we have the very bad interior in the basement with even more bad interior, but we'll just skip past that and go outside to a beautiful farm. Wow. First we have the house, which is pretty nice, I would say. I wanted, as I've said before, a rustic farmhouse that was spacey. I mean, it's gonna fit me in it, so of course it has to be big. But I also wanted it to look like it's been standing here for a while, unlike the other buildings. Next is of course the bee farm / house. I love this place. This is definitely where I would go to just relax and unwind. The interiors is again boring, but look at all this honeycomb. And then of course outside view right through the window into a tree. And in front we also have these lovely flower beds for all my flower tending. And of course my little axolotl friend in his lovely pond. Then we have this big middle thing. This is kind of just a wheat field, a sheep pen and a cow pen mashed together, but it looks nice. We also have our little seating area at the house, but I never put seats in because I was a busy bee with everything else. Then we come over here to our lovely pumpkin patch. I absolutely love pumpkins and the color orange, so this is just perfect for me. I could have made it a little more beautiful and gave it something else than just a pothole ground floor, but that's okay. And then, of course, our big pumpkin boy over here. Oh, I just love him so much. Right next to the pumpkin patch is obviously the pumpkin research center where I have my pumpkin farm that generates me a lot of pumpkins. I have been stealing them and making them into emeralds, so it seems a bit underwhelming right now checking the chest, but that's okay. Then if we follow this road, we come over to the windmill, which I wanted a road so I could come over and do maintenance on it. Like if it ever starts to make squeaky noises or the sail needs some repairs. But yeah, also very cool. I just love my farm area. Now of course comes the water tower / iron farm. This has been a huge help throughout these 100 days and I'm so glad I made it. I'm also really proud of making the building a water tower. I thought it was pretty genius. It has a little light meter on the top side of it which tells me how much water is in it. It doesn't really have that much water in it, but we'll just pretend. I love my base so much and I loved making this video. I just want to thank you guys for watching this far into the video and just generally watching my video, and say I really appreciate you for clicking on it. It means a whole lot to me. But now let's just end these 100 days with a bang.